I'm Charlie Peck.
Scott Howard.
Welcome to Foxglove. My great-great-grandfather built this house. It's the only house I ever lived in. I put my soul into it. Foxglove is yours now.
We'll take good care of her. You're not gonna believe this. Charlie is outside cutting the grass.
What?
Did you just get this out of the garage?
That's where I keep it.
Thought you'd be gone by now.
That's hard. Hard to say goodbye. Hey! Stop drilling holes in my house!
The man acts like the house still belongs to him.
Honey, he's lonely.
Welcome back to another one of my catch-ups. This one's a little bit different because I actually saw this as a new release, but I didn't have enough time for about like a week or two to actually make the video, so I'm gonna go ahead and catch up and do this right now. So, The Intruder is a psychological thriller starring Dennis Quaid, Michael Ealy, and Meagan Good, and follows this rich married couple from Los Angeles who are played by Ealy and Good, who are planning to start a family, and they, Good's character specifically, wants to settle down in a house that's outside of Los Angeles, where, you know, where they live when the film starts is in Los Angeles, to be more specific. Okay, I said that weird. Anyway, they come across this beautiful old house that's owned by Dennis Quaid's character, who is very attached to this house, obviously. You can see it when you first meet him, and he ends up selling the house to them. As they move in, they start to notice that he just keeps coming back around a lot. He cuts the grass, he offers help on home projects, he invites himself over so consistently, making the situation uncomfortable. And as you would probably expect from these types of movies, chaos and violence ensues as we get further and further into the film. Before we go any further, I've got two disclaimers, and one of them's more of a warning. The first one is that I really won't be holding back on this film, and I will be getting into spoilers because there are specific things in the movie that bothered me to the point where I just have to talk about them. So if you are still planning on seeing the movie, just go ahead and put this video on your watch later list and come back when you're done. But personally, I really don't recommend that anybody see this film, so this is why I'm doing a spoiler, a spoiler warning. And now to my normal disclaimer for the uninitiated. The way that I convey my thoughts on a film is I do it in a pro and con list, and that part's obviously self-explanatory, so I won't get into extreme detail on that, except to say that while I do try to keep the pro and con sections separate, occasionally I will transition from one to the other if I think I can work them off of each other. But anyway, there's your disclaimer. Let's go ahead and get into things. So, I do want to start off with getting into the cons, because I am going to be spending the most time in this section. First off, this film follows a very similar plot format to many other low-budget horror films that have come out in the past decade or so. But that's not as bad as the plot's biggest crime, because I find it really funny since Dennis Quaid is in this movie. In 2003, Dennis Quaid did a small movie called Cold Creek Manor, where he plays a man who brings his family to this house that he bought, and after a little bit, this man comes around claiming to be the previous owner. And, you know, he helps around, or he tries to offer help up on house projects around the place. And, of course, after a bit, chaos and violence ensues. And with just a few details shifted around and changed, this movie is basically Cold Creek Manor if Dennis Quaid played the creepy guy instead of, I believe the actor was Stephen Dorff in Cold Creek Manor. I'm pretty sure that was him. The film wants to be much scarier than it actually is, and you can see all of this thanks to some shamelessly fake jump scares that just end up being unintentionally hilarious the closer it gets to the end. Especially since you can see these coming a mile away thanks to the musical score, which just dials you into each scare and warns you very early in advance. The film is also littered occasionally with these gratuitous PG-13 sex sequences that feel like they were pulled straight out of a music video, complete with your average sensual hip-hop/pop songs and the camera panning all over Meagan Good's body like she was some kind of object. Everything else after this in my cons are tied to the script, because are asked to accept things that make no sense or just don't work logically. The progression of the film is the part where it starts because... I got something on my tongue, what the hell. Shit, where was I? Oh, right off the bat, I was able to see that this film would be more tightly executed if it were just an 80-minute or so film, but we get this over, like, a movie that's over 100 minutes with at least 15 to 20 minutes of just pointless plot points and subplot points that go nowhere. I mean, the two main characters are really good at making stupid decisions and are even unlikable to the point where I was actually rooting more for the villain. Michael Ealy's character specifically is revealed to have been previously unfaithful to his wife, and we learn this after he flirts with multiple co-workers and clients, and yet we're supposed to be on his side when he doesn't like that Dennis Quaid's character is hanging around his wife a lot. And also, speaking of his wife, she feels bad for Quaid's character because Quaid has created this backstory that makes him come across as a very sympathetic character, and she keeps letting him invite himself over because she feels bad for him, and it has been a bit insinuated that she may kind of have a crush on him as well. But anyway, back to the point that I made about the padded runtime. Much of it relies on Good feeling sorry for Dennis Quaid. All of this, the previously unfaithful husband, the sympathizing wife, are just things that are set up throughout the film, and none of them are really paid off near or at the end of the film. It's just there to, make the film longer. They also spend a fair amount of time trying to shoehorn in a theme, a message about how guns are bad. So randomly in this movie, Michael Ealy's character talks about a tragedy in his life where his brother was gunned down in the street. I don't remember the particulars of why, I just remember that he was shot to death. So, because of this, Michael Ealy's character hates guns, doesn't want them anywhere on the property, and a couple of times that they see Dennis Quaid's character, he's carrying around a hunting rifle. Hell, the very first time that they meet him, he's hunting a deer on his property and shoots the damn thing mere feet away from where the couple is standing. But yeah, Michael Ealy just explains what happens and then continuously says throughout the movie, I don't like guns, keep guns off of my property. We get expositional dialogue instead of this very simple flashback scene showing his brother getting shot and maybe a younger Michael Ealy learning that his brother was shot or even witnessing it. Because I don't remember if he said that he witnessed it or if he just heard about it, I don't know. But anyway, this happens a lot in the film. Lots of explaining and, it's more telling, not showing, which is one of the worst things that you can do in a film. And you guys know how much I hate that kind of thing. But back to the gun part, we spend an entire film being told that guns are bad, but then at the end of the film, Michael Ealy has beaten Dennis Quaid near to death and takes the gun from him, shoots him in the face and says, go to hell, right before the credits ended. I just started laughing when the movie was over, because they take this character who's afraid of guns, gave him a gun, and he seemingly uses it without hesitation, and the movie just ends like we watched a fucking action movie. So at the end of the day, I don't know who this movie was made for, or who the message was for at the end of the day. It's pointless. Despite the fact that I'm glad to be through with the cons, I'm sad that I have to go into the pros because there's only one good thing that I have to say about this. I am going to confidently say that the only good thing about The Intruder is, in fact, Dennis Quaid. He actually gives an over-the-top, fun performance that this film does not deserve. He's the only person that seems to understand that this movie could have actually been a B-rate horror film that knew exactly what it was, and sadly he's the only one that's treating it like that. Everybody else is treating this like it's basically the next great Godfather or Citizen Kane movie. Everybody's taking this so seriously, and it's just a detriment on the film. And those are my individual thoughts on The Intruder. This movie is a shameless mess with unlikable characters, a plot that has been largely recycled multiple times, and 15 to 20 minutes of scenes involving extra plot that should have been cut. I wanted to see this movie because it looked like they were potentially going for that B-rate horror flick that knows what it is and has fun with it. That's, you know, that's what Dennis Quaid was playing for, or was playing towards, and I thought that's what I was getting at, and the only semblance of that theory of mine did survive through Dennis Quaid's really awesome performance. I've always believed that Dennis Quaid was an underrated actor, and this is another example of that. He knew what the film could be, and he just went for it. Still, not all is lost. This film comes across like one of those ones where you can just go back and watch it when, you know, when you have a movie night with your buddies and you guys are getting wasted and you just want something to laugh at. You know, either way, I will not watch this movie again, and like I said earlier, I do not recommend anybody see this movie in theaters. At the most, wait until it's on like Netflix or something. Just find a way to watch it free. I don't even like the idea of watching movies illegally. I'm fine with that. Just don't put any money towards this movie. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching and just listening to me bitch about a particularly horrible movie. If you enjoyed the video, please don't hesitate to hit that like button, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with everything that's going on the channel. And also, don't be afraid to go down in the comment section and just tell me what you guys thought of it. I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think, especially if you did end up enjoying the movie. Sorry, I got something in my throat. But now all that's left to say is farewell until the next video, all you moviegoers, or sorry, casual moviegoers and movie fans alike, and keep on being awesome.